I think we're
GM,
live,
everyone.
so
All right.
GM, I'm loving the presentation.
so I think this is going to be shifting one way or another. Francisco, who's in the background, if you can put us all three together, I think that'll be much better. But anyhow, before he does that, hello everybody. This is the governance call for the Metapool DAO. We have some important guests today, and I'll let them introduce themselves. But more importantly, we're here to discuss the several Metapool improvement proposals that have been going around the community for a few weeks now. Some surprises, to be honest, and we'll discuss them in due time. But anyhow, so we'd like to, Peter, you'd like to introduce yourself? I think most of the community know you, but there should be some new folks here coming in. So go right ahead, Peter.
Thank you very much, Claudio. Very happy to be here to discuss these very important initiatives coming out from the Metapool DAO. So I'm Peter, and I'm the founder of Near Week, which is the official Near Protocol newsletter and community platform. We host various spaces and the Near Protocol Town Hall and try to facilitate as much of the ecosystem as possible on our channels and get the Near Protocol across everywhere. And I'm super excited to be here today. I myself am a voter, frequent one, and Near Week is happy to also be running our own validator node to support the decentralization of the Near Protocol. So excited to be here and be able to contribute today. Lucio, do you want to go ahead and say a few words about yourself?
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
You want to introduce yourself, Lucio?
Introduce myself?
There's new folks coming in, man. I surely expect some new folks coming in. So
there's new public everywhere. I am the technical co-founder of Metapool. We have been working with Metapool since 2021. So it's a bull run and a bear run and whatever it is now ago. So 3 years is almost a veteran here in the Web3 space. I'm everything technical of Metapool. I'm the guilty one, and the reason why Metapool is a successful product is here my co-founder Claudio.
Well, thank you very much for the compliment, but I didn't do any of the coding, so it's a 1-2 punch there, mate. So anyhow, Patrick.
Coding, no problem. Coding is just 99%. Don't you worry.
Excellent, Patrick. Go right ahead, my friend. Introduce yourself.
My name is Patrick from Dynamo DeFi. I have a YouTube channel and newsletter covering DeFi, and I'm happy to be an advisor to Metapool. I've known Claudio for a couple of years now, and finally this year we were able to start collaborating. And I'm going to be one of the moderators helping to interview Claudio and Lucio today.
Perfect. So I think we can get this started. Just a couple of housekeeping notes here. I understand that there's many questions around what's going on the DAO. I do want to be very transparent here. Is nobody has figured it out, right? We're trying to find the best ways and processes of voting, getting feedback, and executing the different proposals, right? It's not going to be like an easy or how can I say? It is an unknown, right? We understand we want to build a DAO. That was pretty clear. Technically, we're capable of delivering that. Now, governance is a whole nother thing. And here is where this are the safe space for people to come ask their questions. We do want people to be very civil in this sense. And more importantly, we want people to get to the point, right? What is it that you want to ask? If you have comments and if you want to add your 2 cents, we're open to that. But please first ask your questions, then go to the governance channel on Discord, and then we can have a more broader conversation there. We would like to hear your points of view, but sometimes it gets a little bit noisy. So go direct to the question. This is the time, and this is where Lucio and myself can answer those questions. We invited Peter and Patrick to be here to come in and ask a little bit broader questions. This is something that's coming from the community as well, and then take it from there, right? But more importantly right now for us is just having these channels where the community can come in, we can discuss openly what's happening. Very important here is that in the next few months, House of Stake for Near Protocol is going to be live. How, when, I do not know, right? And we will be part of that broader discussion because STNear is going to be part of the governance processes over at Near Protocol. More to discuss later. Today, we're going to discuss all things Metapool. So with that, Patrick, Peter, the mic is all yours. Let's take it away.
Thank you very much, Claudio. So prepared a few questions for the Metapool improvement proposal number 8, which broadly is changes in grants voting to disincentivize last-minute voting. So, Claudio, can you explain the motivation behind the proposal to disincentivize last-minute voting in grants and how it aims to improve the overall quality of the grants voting process?
Yeah, I think it was when you start to see, first of all, this didn't happen on the first 4 MPDAO grants round, right? It was up until we announced that there was around $100,000 to be distributed. We started to see this coming. This, how can I say? It is behavior. This behavior is starting to come into the DAO, right? And so what happened was that there were a few projects on the last Metapool grants round, number 7, that didn't reach the minimum threshold. And then Lucio can come in and to explain to you a little bit how that threshold is. But long story short, people got left out, and they were very, very much active in bringing in votes and getting the community to rally behind them. And it was pretty sad, to be honest, that people were left out by a few votes, right? And so we wanted to disincentivize this behavior by bringing this technical solution to it, right? And then I'll let Lucio answer the technical part and also explain about the thresholds in order for people to reach to be able to be funded by the DAO. So go right ahead, Lucio.
Yes. The problem is the following. It is a complex, not so complex, but let me take 5 minutes to explain. Right now, Metapool, we are making all important decisions by the DAO. So let's say everything that is crucial to the project is decided by the DAO. There are 2 ways of vote. You have the MPIP, that is improvement proposal. Those are very, let's say, strategic decisions, if you want. Where are we going? How are we using the treasury? And then you have the, let's say, everyday voting. In everyday voting, we right now have 2 things, but as soon as we start moving into different chains, there will be 5, 4, 6 things to vote. Right now, there are 2. One is where to distribute a stake on the NEAR validators. That is 25% of the 22 million NEAR that the protocol is managing. 1/4 of that, 25%, is decided by voting. The rest is decided by performance and trying to balance the stake to have a higher Nakamoto coefficient for the NEAR blockchain. But the other 25% is decided by votes. That is providing utility to MPDAO, that is the governance token. And the other thing where you can vote is the grants. Those two ways of votes are different because when you vote for validators, since validators are something that is permanently working, your vote, you can left your vote in the validator and that will be valid until you remove it. But for grants are something that start and end on a particular month. And you need to choose. Either you vote for validators, or if you want, you can vote for the grants. But it's the same power that you divide between one thing or the other. So what happened? If you are a validator or if you, let's say, are very supportive of a particular validator, the best way to maximize the voting power is to, at the last minute of the grant, vote with all your voting power for a particular grant. And as soon as the grant ends, you go back and take the voting power and move it back to the validator. That was, let's say, the incentives given how the system was designed. That is what was rational to do, but to be honest, it was creating this problem that Claudio is describing, that, for example, you have people trying to get support for their own grant, and on the last 2 minutes of the voting period, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 millions of votes come in, change the entire landscape, and then go out 2 minutes later. So it was very difficult for the grants, for the grantees, because they have at some point believed that they have reached the enough amount of votes and that is to find that this is completely destroyed on the last 2 minutes. So the change is the following. If you vote on the last 48 hours of the grant voting period, you cannot remove your votes until 20 days later. So that has two let's say, good results. One, the grantees can make a big push on the last 2 days because they know that the votes that they already have cannot be removed. And also, if you have a lot of votes dedicated to a validator, it's not a good idea to go back and vote at the last minute. You can vote whenever you want, but it will be a commitment for 20 days. So maybe the people will start to have, let's say, be more careful and, let's say, take only 10% of the vote they have in the validator to vote in the grants and so on. So it is learning. It is learning from the experience and adjusting this way of governance that I think everybody in Web3 is experimenting with.
Very nice. So the need to change the grants voting process identified. Sounds like it was pretty obvious to the DAO after running the grants rounds, right? And it also sounds like you actually have expectations that this new rule requiring votes to be committed for at least 20 days will actually impact the behavior of the validators and the broader MPDAO community, in a positive sense, right? There was a bit of a lag when you were, or as we experienced before, Lucio. I hear double when you speak, right? But I just wanted to make sure that the measures that are in place to ensure that the freeze in voting during the last 48 hours of the grants round, like what are the measures in place so it doesn't negatively impact the grantees or the voters? Either Claudio or Lucio, feel free to take it.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, sorry, Claudio.
Yeah, this and this is very important, right? There will be decisions where there for any stakeholder in the governance for the Metapool DAO, we should have some decisions that are going to be not easy decisions. One important aspect of here is that they will continue to earn protocol fees, right? They're voting. Now, as a validator node, there is a downside, but it's a downside of not being able to double dip in a sense, right? Is you vote last minute and then you put it back into your validator node. But you're still earning the rewards, right? The only thing is that you're not losing your stake, your delegation. And so the intended utility for the governance token, we would like to have that double utility, right? Where you're voting for the grants and you're also voting for your node. Reality is they need to make a choice. And it's a normal choice, right? And if it's business driven, then by all means keep on voting for your validator node, right? We would love for you to vote also for grantees, but then again, well, it's just a choice. It's a hard choice, but still, we're not taking away the possibility for them to earn rewards, protocol fees from voting on the governance, and also protocol fees or staking rewards from running that node. And so it is a hard decision for few in the benefit of many, right? In this case, they're grantees. And in the process of the grants round, who is our core user? Who are we going to put front and center? And in this case, it's the grantees. It's not the validator node. In the case of the vote for validator nodes, yes, who is the user there? Is the validator node. Who we're going to be putting the front and center? The validator node. And that has been running for more than a year. So I think it's just a choice people need to make. And in this case, for this specific user, which is the validator node operator, well, it's a hard choice. But it's not that we're taking away anything from them. They just need to make a choice. Yes, Lucio, you wanna?
No, that's great. Yes, yeah. And the way you are describing it is even a triple dip, because you are getting voting for the grantee, you are getting paid for vote, and you are getting staking rewards because of the NIR that is directed to your node, because you are also voting for your node. So it's just, this rule is just converting a triple dip in a double dip. So 100% agree with what you say.
So it sounds pretty fair to me, and super excited to see that the improvement proposal has been approved. So what will be the next steps in implementing these changes, and how will the Metapool DAO and the community measure their, or be able to measure their effectiveness?
The technical aspect, you want to go for it, Lucio?
Yeah. The fixes are already implemented. This, let's say, blocking of removal of votes on the last 2 days of the proposal that is starting tomorrow. And we will evaluate the positive or not impact based on the grantees' feedback after the voting ends.
Do you have anything to add to that, Claudio? All good.
One more thing, sorry, one more thing for full transparency. We are describing what we think is fair and what the DAO vote at the end. But yes, it's not always all shiny and beautiful. Even if the problem is when you get used, or you do it once, let's say you do the triple dip once, and then a new rule appears and you cannot do the triple dip, you can only do double dip. There's always somebody that is unhappy. So just to recognize, yes, all DAO decisions at the end, the majority should be happy, but there will always be unhappy people. But that's something else that we need to learn. Everybody that is participating in the DAO. At some point, you need to say, okay, if the rest of the DAO members voted that way or that other way, that's good. I adapt and let's move forward. That is a good, let's say, behavior to develop. Let's say start to accepting how the voting results.
I very much agree, Lucio, and I think it's also very necessary step in experimenting with these governance models, on-chain governance models, incentivized models, etc. Still at the frontier, changing every day, right? So I can only highly recommend anyone that want influence to actually participate and vote. I think that's the most important thing, actually, to people, for people to raise their voice. And then, as you say, accept that you cannot win always, right? It's the majority that wins, and hopefully it will be for the better. But if you want anything said, you should use your voting power. Very nice for rounding up the improvement proposal number 8. So we're moving on to questions for improvement proposal number 9, creating a ref finance pool for the MPDAO token. So Claudio, could you walk us through the reasoning behind creating a ref finance pool for the MPDAO token and how it might affect the token's value and distribution? But I would say also accessibility, right? As of now, the MPDAO token is only purchasable on Uniswap, as far as I am concerned.
Yes, thank you very much for that question. It was something that was brought into our attention for the last, I don't know, maybe 2 months, right? It wasn't that we were not hearing the community. It was just there are only so many hands, right? And this is an important move that needs the full attention, right? More importantly, since I want to be totally transparent here, we're not experts, neither Lucio nor myself. We're not traders. We didn't build Metapool. It is part of the DeFi ecosystem. It's just not an AMM. It has an internal AMM, but it's a one-sided AMM. And so we're not experts in this, right? We have good backers, right? Good investors, and just we went back and forth and the advice on this, right? Current market conditions, to be told, are not favorable right now. Everything is kind of up in the air. A lot of FUD, but more importantly is that we needed to allocate a source of funding for it. That's the most important part. Now, why? And there were a couple of questions here. Hey, why did you seed the pool over in Uniswap? And then we said, hey, because we wanted to reach out to the Ethereum ecosystem, right? When we did that last year, people were saying, well, where is MPDAO? And then, or in this case, Meta. Well, it's on Ref, right? It's on Near. And we're like, I don't have a Near wallet. And so we answered that question. We launched multi-chain governance, and that was the focus. And we needed also to have a few months so we can make sure that everything worked. And gladly, and here's a shout out to the development team and Lucio, right? Things went smoothly, are going smoothly. And so now we're having this discussion, right? Okay, so important. I understand that there's going to be folks that want to acquire the token, and there's going to be folks that would like to sell the token. Before we go into this conversation, please, anything that we say here should not be considered financial advice. Please do your own research, and more importantly, understand that crypto is quite risky. So anyhow, with that out of the way, we go into the gritty details. So we needed to understand, how do we fund this, right? Because at the end of the day, it should be a decision by the DAO. How much you allocate, for how long you allocate, and then for the market to do what markets are going to be doing. Now, an important part of here is, okay, so if we're going to be building, what's the goal, the end goal here? And the end goal is to give people an opportunity to participate in the governance, right? We should be always be putting specific goals to Metapool improvement proposals. Number 8 was, hey, we don't want last minute voting. It was very specific. Setting up a pool in Rev, okay, what's the goal? So that means that if this is gonna, and it should provide value to the DAO, right? Value to the DAO comes in 2 flavors. Very specific, TVL. If we have more TVL, we have more protocol fees to distribute. We've created a non-inflationary system. We're not distributing governance token as part of the rewards. We're distributing directly the protocol fees, which are on stake near or ST near. No other LST is doing that. So right now, if we create a pool, then we need to understand how does this improve those 2 points, TVL and the non-inflationary system for protocol fee distribution. And now this is a hard question, right? We want to get more people involved in the Metapool DAO, which means that we will have more people to distribute the protocol fees, which means less protocol fees for everyone. Okay, this is going to incentivize bringing more TVL. Now, part of the proposal doesn't cover that. So that's an unknown right there, right? That the DAO should be considering when they make this decision, right? On how much liquidity you're going to put into there. Yes, I do understand that having a pool, it is by itself kind of like a marketing and growth tool. But like any tool, we need to understand for what it is good for. And now it is good to have exposure to the MPDAO token for folks, but then at the same time, it's going to be quite there are some unknowns there that we need to just put on the table. I'm not asking for the DAO to solve those questions, but it's important for the DAO to ask to be asking those questions to the overall community. Then the second part is the non-inflationary system. So that means that if we put out there more governance tokens, which are not going to be used for the intended utility of it, then it is just a tradable asset, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. This is part of why we build on with blockchain technology, decentralized. Everybody can roll their own, right? But at the end of the day, we cannot be irresponsible for this, right? It's not just creating a pool and that's it, and then it will handle by its own. It will need to be rebalanced, right? And then who's going to be doing the rebalancing? And now the discussions were really good. There's no silver bullet. That means that there's no right solution. Take into account that 90% of what we put out there is going to fail, right? 5% of that is going to go more so or less, and then 5% we're going to have a good result, right? And so just come with this with an open mind, and don't think that by putting the ref pool, we're going to see an appreciation in price for the MPDAO token, right? Don't think that by putting there, we're going to have more users coming into the DAO as well, right? It's not one size fits all, and it's not a silver, and it's not a means to an end, right? It is just the beginning. So with that, we put in a couple of proposals there. Lucio, you want to go for it and explain to it what that Panda has put in forward? Also very important, we understand that it's not very, how can I say, descriptive. It lacks a lot of more information. We will work with that Panda to set something up more clearly, and then just take it from there. Ash, you can start to ask your questions there if you want, and then we will answer them for sure, my friend. No worries about that. I know people are want to do that, but Lucio, let's be quick, and then let's get into the round of questions as well.
Okay, yes. The proposal is to create 2 pools on Ref, one that is MPDAO STNear, and the other that is MPDAO USDT. The MPDAO STNear pool, I think, is the most interesting because it provides more freedom. Let's say if you want to buy or sell, now you have the pool, and also provides more opportunity, because if you have STNear and MPDAO and you are long on both, you can also become a liquidity provider on the ref pool and keep your MPDAO, your STNear, and earn the reward, the swap fees. So more opportunity for yield for the MPDAO participants. And there's another side effect also, that this is part of what Claudio said. We are not experts, but we have people that can provide advice, our investors and people in other protocols, in other chains. That's a good part of Web3. There's a lot of cooperation. And for example, when we started the Uniswap pools, the recommendation was, guys, you need to open two pools. One with the token, the native token, that is Ethereum in this case, another with a stablecoin. And the question was why? Because you create possibilities of arbitrage, and that creates even more movement and more volume for the token. And that's something good, because that has the possibility of increasing liquidity, so making the pools more useful. By adding the similar two pools on the near side, we create even more arbitrage opportunities, interchain arbitrage opportunities. So there's another activity there where you can provide a service, balancing the pool, and get a yield out of that.
Nice. And has there been any feedback from the community yet regarding this proposal? And if so, how has it influenced the final version of the improvement proposal number 9?
Yes, this voting was a little contested. There were a lot of people in favor, a lot of people against. I think up to 2 hours before the end of the voting period, the result was rejected. But then somebody came in. We are trying to guess who. I don't know if it was Allstake or maybe it was Red Finance. Red Finance will be interested in having this pool because increases Rev TBL. And at the end up, let me check. It is like 60-40 for the yes. There are good reasons why people were objecting or voting against, but also you need to balance somehow. And what I was saying at the beginning, if most of the people believe that the pros are let's say outweigh the cons, good, let's do it. Of course, there are 40% of the voting power that believes that no, the cons outweighs the pros. But this is what DAO voting is. Let's decide by majority and move forward. We need to continue building.
Yeah, and I think that's actually what characterizes projects that adapt and move fast, right? Is actually the amount of changes and proposals you're able to run through, and the pace you iterate at, right? Like the pace of iteration is so crucial in this space, and I think MPDAO has been doing a great job so far. I'll hand over the mic to Patrick from Dynamo for now. Thank you so much for having me, guys. I'll still be here, of course, but I'll give the mic to Patrick.
Thank you, Peter. Next up, we are going to move on to talking about improvement proposal 10 to enable MPDAO transfers between Near and Ethereum using BitJu. So we have a few questions about this. First question is, what prompted the decision to integrate BitJu as a partner for facilitating the transfers, and how does this partnership align with Metapool's larger mission?
So we met the BitJu team 2 years ago, on our first offsite in Buenos Aires 2 years ago. And we've always been talking to local builders there from Argentina, ex Near Hispano community members and whatnot. And we told them about what we were going to be doing with the multi-chain governance at that time, and say, hey, well, I think it will be important to have a bridge solution that goes native on both ways. And so that discussion started there, right? They've since then participated in a couple of hackathons. They've done their own thing, right? But we kept in touch. Then they saw us that we were launching, and they said, hey, you know what? We wanna support this, right? And we want to do kind of like our first well, not our first, right? But like in endeavor into a working with a DAO and whatnot, and they've done multiple projects, and we trust them as well. And more importantly, we know them, which is quite important here, right? And it's something that we have uh, at least a good amount of influence, which is important, at least for us. I know there was also a lot of discussions about Rainbow Bridge and whatnot. For us, and why we did native on ETH is that if we want to go to any other L2, we're using the canonical bridge, and we do not need to be any triaging with anyone, right? Or waiting for dads. It is just talking directly to the core team for the L2, and then they get it whitelisted or whatnot. But even that, we don't have to do that. If we use the canonical bridge, any other project on the other side can use our liquid staking assets or our governance token as well. And so this is an important aspect for us, that we needed this freedom. I understand that people were saying, well, don't you trust Rainbow Bridge? By all means, I do trust it, and we are using it actually. If you go and stake with wrapped near on Aurora, you are using that. So, but it serves that specific purpose. For the purpose that we want it for multi-chain governance, it is just not the right tool, because then it will be a wrapped asset on an MPDAO wrapped asset and not native. And so I think that's an important part that we wanted to bring into the equation. So now that B2 has more experience under their belts, they built a couple of stuff out there for others, and they want to roll their own, and we want to be supportive of that. More importantly, they're also providing they're collateralizing, and if something happens, then they get penalized. But more important is that we trust the builders behind them. We know them in person as well, and that, to be honest, just goes a long way, at least for us. But Lucio, I'll let you handle more on the specifics on it.
No, yeah. To be honest, this is also um, a learning process for us, because I remember when we started, it was Web3 and nothing more. Let's say we were, or at least myself, I was a Web3 maxi, if you like. I didn't like at all centralized exchanges, and that's a common position. But once you start really using multi-chain, and once you start checking or realizing how difficult it is to manage your private keys, my idea changed. I now believe that you need some kind of a step between nothing and I have a Web3 wallet and I can manage my private keys. And for me, that intermediate is either a centralized exchange like Binance or Coinbase or Crypto.com, or a custodial Web3 wallet. And I don't know. I don't know how many people in the are listening now that is have multi-chain or is used to move tokens between multi-chain. For example, if you need to move USDT, you want to move it from Solana to BSC and then back to Near to deposit on Burrow, for example. You can do all of that. The easiest way to do it is via Binance. Let's be honest. Yes, implies a small risk while in transit. Let's say if Binance has a problem just in the moment that you were storing the USDT there, okay, there's a risk. But to be honest, it's a minor risk. We still recommend not to leave tokens on the centralized exchanges, just using them to either swap or to move from one chain to another. So this kind of utility, let's say move from one chain to another, is that we wanted to replicate by associating with B2. And that is what B2 will do. Just provide the same service that all of us use when trying to move, for example, USDT from Near to Ethereum or from Near to Solana. The easiest way to do it is easiest and cheapest way to do it is using Binance, for example. So we want to replicate that, and also at the same time help launching a startup that is based on Latam. So there's a ton of pros, a small amount of cons, and I think it will be a good step. And it primarily, the most important thing for me is that this provides this entry step that will help us help people jump into DeFi. Because that's the story again. I repeat this everywhere. If we are talking about Latam or other frontier markets, crypto is a tool for survival. You need to understand that in the United States and Europe, it's some crazy thing that is something you play with, and something that you see that is getting, let's say, it is going head on against government. So you see, there's like a fight between government and crypto, and people could say, okay, I don't want crypto. I have my money in my bank. Why I will play with crypto? It's just a very, very risky asset. But if you move to Latam, let's say Venezuela or Argentina 3 years ago, it's not a choice. You cannot put your money in your bank. You cannot get dollars. You cannot escape inflation other than using crypto. So it is completely different, correct? You need to understand that. Once you understand that, you understand why these kind of tools that help you, let's say, with a Web 2 interface, let's say, take the first step into crypto, those are perfect. Because if there's a good agreement between Metapool and Bitu, and there is, we will use Bitu to help people finally reach Metapool and managing their own kits. But in the meantime, they can try DeFi with a simple way with email and password. For me, it's fundamental to help onboard people.
Thank you, Lucio. So next question is, there's several accountability measures proposed in Improvement Proposal 10, particularly the collateral deposit and performance thresholds for BitJu. Can you elaborate on those?
Yes, this was added by members of the Metapool team, because when we had this idea, we distributed internally a draft of what was the proposal, and everybody started thinking very well. I think it's a very good idea. Okay, let's try to minimize any trust, and that's correct. Don't trust, verify. That is the idea. One of the key ideas that we keep repeating. So based on that, we establish a series of parameters to make sure that the risk is heavily minimized. So that's what you see on the MPIP. And if somebody has some other idea that will help us minimize the risk, that is perfectly welcome. To be honest, as Claudia said, we know the team, we know we can trust them, but we shouldn't. Nobody should trust. That's not the idea of crypto. The idea is you don't trust, you verify, or you have collateral. So I think the having a collateral is the best thing we can do. And if the volume gets bigger, at some point we will have to increase the collateral, of course. And Ash, and let me answer the Ash question. The ATA is after all the discussion on the MPIP is completed, and all the feedback is included into the proposal. And if the proposal is approved, I guess there will be a couple of days, and the bridge can be established. So think about 2 or 3 weeks, or whatever it takes on the discussion.
Thank you. And I believe part of the question was also about security for people who have concerns around the security of the bridge. Are there any other options for manually bridging large holders?
We can talk on Discord, create a ticket, depending on what do you mean by large holders. Maybe we can either recommend you to do it in a couple of steps, so you never have a lot of tokens in the middle, or we can increase the collateral.
Understood. So a couple other questions about improvement proposal 10. One is going back to BitJu. What are the expected benefits of launching exclusive metapool services on BitJu, and how might those services differ from those offered by other platforms? And either Claudio or Lucio can take this one.
I will make a clarification, then I leave to Claudio to explain. The idea is to have the same tool that you have with Binance, but this is a new startup starting, a LATAM startup. It's almost impossible to get a large centralized exchange to list any token because there is too many tokens. So they say, okay, who are you? Okay, what is your volume? See, if your volume is less than $200 million, we don't care. So impossible to use large centralized exchanges. Let's use a small startup like we were 3 years ago.
Yeah, and more importantly, someone we can work with side by side, right? And yes, I understand that there's this trust issue, right? And we want to address it. To trust us with your tokens for more than 3 years now. We ask for you to trust us again, right? It's not an easy step, but it's important for us to keep to also and yes, I want to also be transparent. Yes, we're biased, right? We want to help our own, and I think that if this was made in Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, whatever, you would like to help your own. That's reality, right? Even though in the World Cup we get always served with on the wrong side of the goal. But yeah, it is a team from LATAM that we're supporting, right? And we trust them. We want to give them, and it's the same thing that our backers did with us, right? How did Dragonfly and IOSG trusted a guy from Mexico and Argentina to run a liquid staking protocol, right? Running on top of a DAO. Not only liquid staking protocol, but running on top of the DAO. Now we're giving the BitChute team a shot at really like getting exposure, and more importantly, like really running something that's going to be global and servicing a global community, and more importantly, be part of it as well, right? In the sense of they'll have their own how can I say support channels and whatnot, right? So that's something that we also wanted to give them a chance, right? And this is we're asking the community not to go into it blindly, and that's why we said to the B2 team, you need to put in something there, put skin in the game, right? And this can be discussed, right? That's why the metapool improvement proposal is there. And then we take it one step at a time. And so and then talking about centralized exchanges, right? It's just right now it is quite prohibiting, right? They're asking way too much money, and this is the important part, right? This is money coming from the DAO. It's not coming from our investors, because we need to. It comes into a point where we need to make this sustainable, and every decision that the DAO makes in order for it to grow should come as a decision from the governance of it, and that stakeholders agree to it as well, right? And so we're taking it one step at a time. Anyhow, I don't want to take too much time into this one. I know there's still some questions from the community that we want to address. But hopefully, Hash, if you're still there, hopefully we answered that question. It will be important just to understand. Yes, open up a ticket. Let's see how much this individual wants to exchange for, and let's have those conversations.
Thank you, Claudio. Yeah, we have a couple community questions from the community to wrap things up. First is there a possibility of offering liquid staking on Base in the future? And this community member said that blockchain is gaining a lot of attention.
Yes, so base are making a really big push in Latam, right? I think this on-chain summer stuff is going on, and to be honest, we faced quite a bit of issues and struggles in the Ethereum ecosystem, right? It's just it requires a lot amount, like Lucio said, we were talking to a few of them over on the, for example, with the Linea ecosystem, right, or Linea, and some of them, and of course, the best partner for liquid staking token, it is the lending and borrowing. And some of them said, well, if you don't have 200 million in liquidity, there's no reason why we should be supporting you. And then, okay, fine. And we talked to a few others, and it just has been quite a bit of a struggle, to be honest. And so for us, we need to take it one step at a time. Yes, of course, Velodrome is one of the big ones over on Aerodrome, which is on the base ecosystem, and they invited us to come in there. But to be honest, right now we're focusing on our launch for the restaking aggregator that we're going to be doing on Solana, and also liquid staking on ICP. And so those two products are going to be going out on the first week of September. And so right now we're quite focused there. Yes, there's a lot of liquidity over there in base, but also one important aspect here is that we are aligning to protocols that want to focus on the regions that we call frontier markets. And so in here, I understand that base is doing a big push, and I congratulate them for doing that. The only thing is that we need to understand, and I know they're with the OP stack. It's already compatible, right? We were already on Optimism, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But for us, is how do you build something that allows people to liquid stake on base seamlessly with their wrapped ETH, right? And that takes 7 days to do that, and it's just a little bit of a cumbersome process. We'll get to it when we maybe next year, to be honest. Right now, it's not on the roadmap, just to be totally transparent here.
Thank you, Claudio. Next community question is, does Metapool have any plans to incorporate AI into your platform?
Lucio, I think you're the one to answer these questions, man. I think we were going back and forth on the AI stuff, but yeah, chime in your 2 cents, man.
No, we have a full roadmap, to be honest. This that Claudio said, launching restaking aggregator in Solana. That is a whole different beast to prepare super product for Solana. Is they say that coding for Solana is chewing glass, and it's literally true. We are also launching liquid staking on ICP. Again, another different beast. ICP is a very interesting ecosystem. And we have it's not in the roadmap, but it's there at some point next year. We intend to launch. And when you were mentioning base and Linea, what we found in the Ethereum ecosystem when we launched MPETH, the liquid staking of Ethereum, is that immediately you need some utility for MPETH. MPETH is good. You are getting a good APY out of Ethereum, but it's the next thing you get that gets into your mind, okay, what can I do with the liquid staking token? So keep in mind, not this year, but for the next year, we will be launching some utility for MPETH and for STNear also. And if you are interested, some metapooler is interested in that we launch on base, just keep pushing. At the end, it will be defined by the DAO. So start thinking about what do you want. Start trying to draft a complex, or to say a complete proposal with all the pros and cons and how it will benefit the DAO. And maybe December, January, you can put an MP proposal and we select Linea or base as the first deployment for this. And the utility for MPETH and also for STNear, this is some alpha, but I think we talk about this in the other call, and is to have a native stablecoin for the Near ecosystem and also based on L2s for MPETH. So this is what is not in the roadmap right now, but it's cooking on the back, and it will be ready next year. To the people that is in the call that have some preference, let's say I want it to be first on base, I want it to be on base. Man, this is a DAO. So if you can prepare a nice proposal that the rest of the DAO holders of the DAO members agree that is good for the DAO, you will get voted, and that's where the DAO will go. It's not our decision. We are just making proposals. You need to take ownership and start making proposals too. We are open to anyone.
Next
Thank
question,
you.
Patrick.
Yeah, next question. Well, that actually concludes our questions for today. Do you have any final messages you wanted to share with the viewers?
Well, I think Lucio dropped a little bit of alpha there, right? I think for us, the most important part is keeping the conversation open, right? Having safe spaces where people can interact and share their thoughts. Please bring that to the governance channel on Discord. Please do not think that we're dismissive of what you're proposing. It is kind of like you'll get to know Lucio, myself, and the team a little bit better, right? It's just we're always challenging one another, right? And that's the good dynamic, right? In a respectable manner, right? It's not that we want to not do stuff or get greedy, right? I think one of the big questions that some folks were asking, and I just want to clear the air here, is that, hey, well, it is the team members' allocation of MPDAO tokens on the Uniswap pool. That is further from the truth. That is completely right now on the control of the DAO, and it's been there since inception. You can see the smart contract as well, and you can see the ins and outs. It's all been from the DAO side. Neither Lucio nor myself our allocation is and will be on near native, because that's how it started. That's where our backers native governance tokens allocations are as well, and all of it, at least for myself and Lucio, they're locked for 300 days. And so, no, we don't intend to sell. No, we're not intending to have folks provide the exit liquidity or whatnot, right? We're here for the long run. We're here to build, and more importantly, we're here to make an impact and just leave this place at least 1% better than how we found it, right? And doing that goes through the Metapool Grants program. Also, a shout out to all of our ambassadors that are here: BC, Sky Empire, Max One, right? There's also a Mexi here that I see here from Ash also as well. Brian from our community. Shout out to Francisco, who's been on the back burner here on the back channel as well, right? Jam, we have a few folks here. So please bring in your questions, bring in your comments, right? Very important, want to give a shout out to Patrick, to Peter as well for coming in here and supporting us in this governance call number 9. We will be bringing in more folks as well, keeping this dynamic. But more important here is any last comments, Peter, Patrick? I know we have a town hall coming in next week. You want to shine in on that? And Patrick also, let us know what's happening with the Dynamo DeFi YouTube channel.
Yeah, so we have the Near Protocol Town Hall next week, and it is jam-packed with a lot of cool updates. Change signatures is really starting to take off, and we have a lot of projects building on that tech stack. And we also have an update from our very own Metapool here. So I highly recommend tuning in next Thursday. I'd say some serious alpha is going to get dropped. Over to you, Patrick.
First, thank you for having me on the call. It's been a pleasure. I always love to see governance in action. And yeah, Dynamo DeFi, we cover all sorts of strategies related to DeFi, and we've got our first comprehensive deep dive on near DeFi that we've done in a bit coming soon. We recently published a deep dive on Substack, and so we'll be publishing some video updates on near as well in the next few weeks.
And I will leave something for closing that I was thinking while Claudia was talking. We are builders. I think that is one of the differentiators of Metapool. Why Metapool is different than other projects. We are builders. We are building continuously. And I think we are a few of the projects that are capable of building multi-chain successfully. We are launching now this restake aggregator in Solana, and then we are launching liquid staking on ICP. So we will have products on ICP, on Solana, on Near, on Ethereum, on Base, on Linea. That is not easy. You need to understand that that is not easy. I remember Lido trying to go liquid staking on Near and on Solana and failing and having to close down 6 months later. And Lido is a very good team, quite smart people, and they have tons of money. But it didn't work. So keep that in mind. We are builders. And the other thing that is different, I think that is unique, we are paying to our members for voting in a non-inflationary way. I think that is unique. I don't see it. If anyone has another DAO that is doing that, please share so we can learn.
Thank you very much, everybody, for coming in here today. It's been quite a long week last week. We took some time off. Sorry about it. There's some messages that are pending to be answered. We will get to it as soon as we can. Thank you very much for all of the nice comments here from all the folks here. Nacion Bankless, Hedy Max, Margarita, thank you very much for coming in here. Cryptoreo, thank you very much. Mark Crypted, and again, our ambassadors that are all over the world, right? Thank you very much for supporting us. Alan did an excellent job behind the grants program and the DAO. Also, shout out to Marcela and the marketing team as well. Tiago, Brian, Rose. We got more than 20,000 people coming in and listening to our X Spaces for 17 hours. So I don't think that's gonna be something that we're gonna be doing every month, but maybe once a year for sure. But it's all because of your support, all because of your commitment to making things happen. Sky Emperor, yes, my friend, we're going to the Solana ecosystem, but like I said, it's a multi-chain world, and I think chain signature is going to be quite important in the future. And Near is leading that. They upgraded to Nightshade as well, 2.0. So definitely a lot of innovation is happening. A lot of innovation is hitting mainnet. So be ready for it. Again, anything that we have said here should not be considered financial advice. Please do your own research, do your own due diligence, right? And let's crack this up. Stay safe, folks. Until next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
There you go.